If you're over 60, what I'm about to share could be the difference between maintaining your independence or becoming dependent on others for basic daily activities. I've seen too many patients in my clinic who've lost their balance, fallen, and never quite recovered the same quality of life. And the heartbreaking part? Most of these incidents could have been prevented with just 4 simple movements done from the comfort of a chair, taking less than 10 minutes a day. My name is Dr. Susan Miller, and I'm a geriatric medicine specialist with over 18 years of clinical experience. I've dedicated my career to helping older adults maintain their vitality, independence, and quality of life. Today, I'm going to share with you 4 chair exercises that have transformed the lives of hundreds of my patients, improving their balance, boosting their circulation, and giving them back the confidence to live life on their own terms. Before we begin, if you haven't subscribed yet, I highly recommend hitting that subscribe button and turning on the notification bell so you never miss another health tip designed especially for you. If you find this video helpful, please leave your questions and suggestions in the comments below. I read every single one, and it helps me create more content to help more people just like you. Let me start by explaining why these 4 movements are so crucial, especially if you're over 60. As we age, our circulatory system naturally becomes less efficient. Blood doesn't flow as easily to our extremities, which can lead to cold hands and feet, numbness, and even more serious complications like blood clots. At the same time, the balance centers in our inner ear and the proprioceptive sensors in our joints start to decline. This combination creates a perfect storm for falls, which are the leading cause of injury-related deaths in adults over 65. But here's what gives me hope every single day in my practice. The human body has an incredible ability to adapt and improve, regardless of age. I've seen 70-year-olds, 80-year-olds, even 90-year-olds regain strength, improve their balance, and feel more energized than they have in years. All it takes is consistency and the right approach. Let me tell you about Senora Maria Helena, a 72-year-old retired schoolteacher from Florianopolis. When she first came to see me, she was terrified of walking to her mailbox. 6 months earlier, she had stumbled on a small crack in the sidewalk and fallen, breaking her wrist. The physical injury healed, but the psychological impact was devastating. She told me, with tears in her eyes, that she felt like a prisoner in her own home. Her daughter had to drive her everywhere, and she had stopped attending her weekly card games with friends, something she had done for over 30 years. Maria Helena's story is unfortunately common. After a fall, many older adults develop what we call post-fall syndrome, a fear of falling that leads them to limit their activities, which in turn leads to muscle weakness and deconditioning, making falls even more likely. It's a vicious cycle. But Maria Helena was determined to break it. I started her on a simple chair exercise program, and within 3 months, she was walking confidently again. Within 6 months, she was back at her card games, and she even started volunteering at the local library, reading to children. She recently sent me a photo of herself at her granddaughter's wedding, dancing. Not sitting on the sidelines, not holding on to someone for support, but actually dancing. That's the power of these simple movements. Now, before I show you the first exercise, I want you to understand something important. These movements might seem too simple to be effective. You might think, how can something this easy make such a big difference? But that's exactly the point. The best exercises are the ones you'll actually do consistently. Complicated gym routines that require special equipment or perfect form? Most people give up after a few weeks. But simple chair exercises you can do while watching television? Those become habits. And habits change lives. If you're still watching and finding this information helpful, comment a heart below to show me you're with me. Your engagement helps me reach more people who need this information. Let's talk about the first movement. Seated marching. This exercise might look simple, but it's incredibly effective for improving circulation in your legs and strengthening your hip flexors, which are crucial for balance and walking. Sit comfortably in a sturdy chair with your back straight and feet flat on the floor. Now, Slowly lift your right knee as high as comfortable, hold for 2 seconds, then lower it back down. Repeat with your left knee. That's 1 repetition. Aim for 20 repetitions, alternating legs. Here's what's happening inside your body when you do this movement. When you lift your knee, you're activating your hip flexor muscles, particularly the iliopsoas muscle. This muscle group becomes weaker as we age, which is one reason why older adults tend to shuffle when they walk instead of lifting their feet properly. Shuffling increases fall risk dramatically because your feet can catch on even small irregularities in the floor. At the same time, the contraction and relaxation of your leg muscles acts like a pump, pushing blood back up toward your heart against gravity. This is especially important if you spend a lot of time sitting. When we sit for long periods, blood can pool in our legs, leading to swelling, discomfort, and potentially dangerous blood clots. The seated marching movement counteracts this pooling effect. Let me share another story. Señor Carlos Eduardo, a 68-year-old retired mechanic from Porto Alegre, came to my office complaining of constant leg swelling and fatigue. He had been a very active man his whole life, always working on cars, always moving. But after retiring, he found himself sitting in front of the television for hours every day. His legs would swell up so much by evening that his shoes wouldn't fit, and he felt exhausted all the time even though he wasn't doing anything physically demanding. Carlos Eduardo was frustrated and confused. He told me, "Doctor, I should be enjoying my retirement, spending time with my grandchildren, maybe doing some traveling. But I feel like I'm falling apart. I'm only 68, and I feel like I'm 90. His wife, who came with him to the appointment, added that he had become withdrawn and depressed, which was completely unlike his normally cheerful personality. When I examined Carlos Eduardo, I could see the significant edema in his lower legs. His circulation was poor, and his leg muscles had atrophied from lack of use. I explained to him that retirement doesn't mean becoming sedentary. In fact, when we stop working, we need to be even more intentional about movement because we've lost that built-in activity that a job provides. I prescribed him a simple routine, starting with the seated marching exercise. Just 20 repetitions, 3 times a day, with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Carlos Eduardo was skeptical. He said, "That's it? That seems too easy to help." But he promised to try it. 2 weeks later, he called my office, excited. The swelling in his legs had decreased noticeably. His energy was better. He was sleeping more soundly at night. 3 months later, Carlos Eduardo had progressed to doing all 4 chair exercises I'm sharing with you today. Plus, he had started taking short walks around his neighborhood. He told me, "Doctor, I feel like myself again. Last weekend, I took my grandson to the park and we played soccer. I didn't think I'd ever be able to do that again." Now, you might be wondering, how exactly should you pace these exercises? Should you do them fast or slow? The answer is controlled and deliberate. Each lift should take about 2 seconds up, a brief pause at the top, and 2 seconds down. This controlled tempo ensures you're actually engaging the muscles rather than using momentum, and it gives you time to maintain your balance and breathing. Speaking of breathing, never hold your breath during these exercises. Breathe naturally, or if you want to optimize the movement, exhale as you lift your knee and inhale as you lower it. Proper breathing ensures adequate oxygen delivery to your muscles and helps prevent dizziness or blood pressure spikes. But wait, if what I've shared so far has surprised you, wait until you hear about the second movement and why it's particularly crucial for preventing falls in the bathroom, which is where most household falls occur. The second movement is the seated ankle pump. This exercise specifically targets your calf muscles and improves circulation in your feet and lower legs. Sit with your back straight and feet flat on the floor. Now, keeping your heels on the ground, lift your toes up toward your shins as far as comfortable. Hold for 2 seconds. Then, lift your heels off the ground, pointing your toes down. Hold for 2 seconds. That's 1 repetition. Aim for 20 repetitions. The calf muscle, or gastrocnemius, is often called the body's second heart because of its crucial role in pumping blood back up from your feet toward your heart. When this muscle weakens or you develop poor circulation, you can experience numbness, tingling, and most dangerously, instability when standing or walking. Let me tell you about Señora Beatriz, a 75-year-old retired nurse from Belo Horizonte. Beatriz had been a nurse for 45 years, spending most of her shifts on her feet, caring for patients. She was proud of her health and independence. But one morning, something terrifying happened. She got out of bed to use the bathroom, and her feet felt completely numb. She couldn't feel the floor beneath her. She took 2 steps and collapsed, thankfully not seriously injured, but shaken to her core. Beatrice's daughter insisted she come see me. During our consultation, Beatrice confessed that she had been experiencing numbness in her feet for months, but had dismissed it as just part of getting older. She said, "I was a nurse, doctor. I should have known better. But I kept thinking it would go away on its own." The fear in her eyes was palpable. She told me she was now afraid to get up at night, even to use the bathroom, because she didn't trust her feet. After ruling out serious conditions like diabetes and peripheral artery disease, I determined that Beatrice's numbness was primarily due to poor circulation and deconditioning of her calf muscles. Despite her years of being on her feet as a nurse, in retirement she had become quite sedentary. Her second heart, those powerful calf muscles, had weakened significantly. I taught Beatrice the ankle pump exercise, along with the seated marching. She was diligent, doing them 3 times daily. Within 2 weeks, she noticed improvement. The numbness wasn't completely gone, but it was less frequent and less severe. Within 2 months, she felt confident enough to take short walks again. 6 months later, she volunteered to go on a medical mission trip to a rural community, providing health screenings and education. She told me, "I got my purpose back, doctor, and it started with something as simple as moving my ankles up and down." The ankle pump exercise is also crucial for preventing deep vein thrombosis, or DVT, especially if you travel frequently or have periods of prolonged sitting. The pumping action of the calf muscle squeezes the deep veins in your leg, preventing blood from pooling and clotting. This is why you'll often see airline safety cards recommending ankle exercises during long flights. Additionally, strong, flexible ankles are essential for balance. Your ankle joint contains numerous proprioceptive sensors that tell your brain where your foot is in space. When these sensors aren't working properly, or when the muscles around the ankle are weak, your balance suffers dramatically. By doing the ankle pump exercise daily, you're not just improving circulation, you're also maintaining and enhancing these crucial balance sensors. Now let's move to the third exercise, and this one specifically addresses the upper body, which many people forget is just as important for balance and overall health. The third movement is the seated shoulder rolls. Sit up straight with your feet flat on the floor and your arms relaxed at your sides. Slowly roll your shoulders forward in a circular motion, making the circles as large as comfortable. Do 10 forward rolls, then reverse direction and do 10 backward rolls. This simple movement has profound effects on your upper body circulation, posture, and even your breathing capacity. As we age, many of us develop rounded shoulders and a forward head posture, especially if we spend time reading, using computers, or doing crafts. This postural change doesn't just make us look older, it actually compresses the blood vessels and nerves that run through the shoulder area, leading to reduced circulation in the arms and hands. Poor circulation in the upper extremities can cause cold hands, numbness, and decreased grip strength. And grip strength, research has shown, is a powerful predictor of overall health and longevity in older adults. Additionally, rounded shoulders restrict lung expansion, reducing oxygen intake. When your body doesn't get adequate oxygen, you feel tired, foggy-headed, and sluggish. By opening up the chest and shoulders through these rolls, you're literally giving yourself more room to breathe. Señor Roberto, a 69-year-old retired accountant from Curitiba, came to see me with complaints of persistent numbness in his hands, especially his right hand. He was worried he might have carpal tunnel syndrome, or even early signs of a stroke. Roberto had spent his entire career hunched over ledgers and later computers, and in retirement, he had taken up woodworking, which meant more time with his head down, focused on detailed work. The numbness was affecting his quality of life significantly. He told me, "Doctor, I can't even feel the tools in my hands properly anymore. I'm afraid I'll cut myself and not even realize it. And at night, my hands tingle so much it wakes me up." My wife is worried. I'm worried. Roberto had been a proud, independent man his whole life, and the thought of losing function in his hands was devastating to him. After a thorough examination and ruling out serious neurological conditions, I determined that Roberto's symptoms were primarily due to thoracic outlet syndrome, a compression of nerves and blood vessels caused by his poor posture and tight shoulder muscles. I taught him the shoulder roll exercise, emphasizing the importance of making the movements large and deliberate, really opening up the chest and shoulder area. Roberto was consistent with the exercises. Within 1 week, he noticed the nighttime tingling had decreased. Within a month, the daytime numbness had significantly improved. 3 months later, he proudly showed me a beautiful wooden jewelry box he had crafted for his wife's birthday. He said, "I can feel the wood again, doctor. I can feel the grain, the texture. You gave me back my craft, my passion." But the benefits didn't stop there. Roberto also noticed that he was breathing more easily, especially when walking upstairs. His wife commented that he stood taller and looked more confident. These might seem like small changes, but they had a profound impact on Roberto's self-image and quality of life. He felt like himself again, capable and competent. When doing the shoulder rolls, remember to keep the movement smooth and controlled. Don't force the range of motion, just move within your comfortable range, and over time, that range will naturally increase as your muscles and joints become more flexible. If you hear some cracking or popping sounds, that's usually normal, just gas bubbles releasing from the joint. However, if you experience pain, stop and consult with your healthcare provider. If you're finding these exercises helpful and you're still watching, leave a comment below to let me know. Your feedback helps me understand what content is most valuable to you so I can create more videos that truly help improve your health. Now, the fourth and final movement is perhaps the most powerful of all for improving overall circulation and building core strength, which is the foundation of all balance. The fourth movement is the seated torso twist. Sit up straight with your feet flat on the floor, hip-width apart. Cross your arms over your chest, placing each hand on the opposite shoulder. Keeping your hips facing forward and your back straight, slowly rotate your upper body to the right as far as comfortable. Hold for 2 seconds, feeling the gentle stretch along your side. Return to center, then rotate to the left. That's 1 repetition. Aim for 10 repetitions on each side. This twisting motion is crucial for maintaining spinal mobility and core strength. Your core muscles, which include not just your abdominal muscles but also the deep stabilizer muscles along your spine, are essential for every movement you make. When you reach for something, when you turn to look behind you while driving, when you get out of bed in the morning, your core is working. As these muscles weaken with age and inactivity, daily activities become harder, and fall risk increases dramatically. The twisting motion also promotes circulation through the organs in your abdomen. Your digestive system, your kidneys, your liver, all benefit from this gentle massage effect. Many of my patients report improved digestion and reduced constipation after adding this exercise to their daily routine. Let me share one final story, and this one is particularly close to my heart because it shows how these simple exercises can genuinely save lives. Senora Ana Paula, an 81-year-old widow from São Paulo, was referred to me by her cardiologist. She had been hospitalized twice in the previous year for falls that resulted in injuries requiring emergency care. Her children were discussing moving her to an assisted living facility, which Ana Paula was desperately resisting. She valued her independence above almost everything else. When Ana Paula came to my office, she was using a walker and moved very slowly and cautiously. But what struck me most was the defeat in her eyes. She told me, "Doctor, I know my children mean well, but if I can't live in my own home, surrounded by my memories and my things, I don't want to live at all." Her daughter, sitting beside her, was in tears. She said, "We just want Mom to be safe. We're terrified we'll get a call that she's fallen again and this time she won't survive." I understood both perspectives. Falls are serious, and Ana Paula's children had legitimate concerns. But I also understood Ana Paula's desire for independence and dignity. I told them, "Let's try something. Give me 3 months. I'm going to teach Ana Paula some exercises, and we're going to work on building her strength and balance. If we don't see significant improvement in 3 months, then we can revisit the conversation about assisted living." Ana Paula agreed, though I could see she was skeptical. I started her slowly, with just the seated marching and ankle pumps, 5 repetitions each to start. It was all her body could handle at first, but every week she did a little more. I added the shoulder rolls, then the torso twists. I increased the repetitions gradually. Ana Paula told me later that those exercises gave her something to focus on, a sense of purpose each day. She wasn't just sitting and waiting to fall again, she was actively working to prevent it. The transformation was remarkable. After 1 month, Ana Paula reported feeling steadier. After 2 months, she was walking around her house without the walker, using it only when going outside. After 3 months, she attended her great-granddaughter's baptism and stood through the entire ceremony without needing to sit down once. Her daughter called me in tears, but this time they were tears of joy. She said, "You gave us our mother back, doctor. She's herself again." 2 years later, Ana Paula is still living independently in her home. She still does her chair exercises every single day without fail. She tells me they're as much a part of her routine as brushing her teeth. She's had no falls in those 2 years. None. She volunteers at her church, she tends a small garden, and she recently told me she's thinking about getting a cat for company. At 83 years old, she's planning for the future. That's what these simple movements can do. Now, I want to address something important. These exercises are designed to be safe for most people, but everyone's health situation is unique. If you have specific medical conditions, recent surgeries, or severe balance problems, please consult with your healthcare provider before starting any new exercise program. The beauty of these chair exercises is that they can usually be modified to suit individual needs and limitations, but it's always wise to get personalized guidance. Also, please remember that consistency is more important than intensity. It's better to do 5 repetitions every day than 20 repetitions once a week. Your body responds to regular stimulus. Think of it like watering a plant. You can't water it once a month and expect it to thrive. Regular, consistent care is what produces results. Here's what I recommend. Start slowly. For the first week, just do the seated marching, 10 repetitions, once a day. Get comfortable with the movement. Make sure your chair is stable and positioned safely. Once you feel confident with that, add the ankle pumps. The following week, add the shoulder rolls. And finally, add the torso twists. Before you know it, you'll have a complete routine that takes less than 10 minutes and can be done while watching your morning news or your favorite show. Many of my patients like to do their exercises at the same time each day, creating a habit. Some do them with their morning coffee. Others do them before bed. Some do them during commercial breaks while watching television. Find what works for you and stick with it. You might even want to put a reminder on your phone or mark it on your calendar until it becomes automatic. I also encourage you to track your progress. Nothing fancy, just a simple notebook where you write down what you did each day. You might also want to note how you're feeling, any improvements you notice in your balance, energy level, or just your general sense of well-being. These little notes can be incredibly motivating when you look back and see how far you've come. And please, don't get discouraged if you miss a day or if progress seems slow. Change takes time. Your body has been aging for decades. We can't reverse that overnight. But we can improve it, strengthen it, and help it function at its best potential. Every single repetition matters. Every single day you show up for yourself matters. I want you to imagine yourself 6 months from now. Imagine feeling steadier on your feet, having more energy, sleeping better at night. Imagine feeling confident enough to do the things you've been putting off or avoiding. Imagine your family seeing you vibrant and active, not worried about you falling. Imagine taking those walks you used to love, visiting friends without anxiety, playing with your grandchildren without fear. That future is possible, and it starts with the simple decision to start moving, today, right now, from the safety and comfort of your chair. The 4 movements I've shared with you today, seated marching, ankle pumps, shoulder rolls, and torso twists, are your foundation. They're your daily investment in your independence, your vitality, your future. They cost nothing. They require no special equipment. They take less time than it takes to brew a cup of coffee. But their impact can be life-changing. Remember Maria Helena, who went from being afraid to check her mail to dancing at her granddaughter's wedding. Remember Carlos Eduardo, who went from exhausted and swollen to playing soccer with his grandson. Remember Beatriz, who regained her confidence and her purpose. Remember Roberto, who got back the sensation in his hands and continued his woodworking passion. And remember Ana Paula, who at 81 years old fought to keep her independence and won. These aren't just stories. These are real people whose lives changed because they committed to simple, consistent movement. You can be one of these success stories. You deserve to be. So here's what I want you to do after watching this video. First, make sure you're subscribed to this channel and the notification bell is on so you don't miss future health tips. Second, try these 4 exercises right now. Yes, right now. Pause the video if you need to, get a sturdy chair, and do just 5 repetitions of each movement. See how they feel. Notice what's happening in your body. Third, commit to doing these exercises for the next 30 days. Just 30 days. Put a reminder on your phone. Tell a family member or friend about your commitment. Having an accountability partner makes success much more likely. And fourth, come back and leave a comment telling me about your experience. I genuinely want to know how these exercises work for you. Your success stories inspire me and inspire others who are watching. If you have questions about how to do these movements, or if you need modifications for specific health conditions, leave those questions in the comments as well. I try to respond to as many as possible, and your questions often give me ideas for future videos that can help even more people. Before we end, I want to say this. Aging doesn't have to mean declining. It doesn't have to mean losing your independence or giving up the activities you love. Yes, our bodies change as we get older. That's inevitable. But how we respond to those changes is entirely within our control. We can accept decline as inevitable, or we can fight for every bit of function, strength, and vitality we can maintain and even improve. I've been practicing geriatric medicine for nearly 2 decades, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that the patients who do best, who maintain their independence longest, who enjoy the highest quality of life, are the ones who stay active. Not running marathons, not lifting heavy weights, just moving consistently, deliberately, and intelligently. That's what these 4 chair exercises represent. Intelligent movement for real people living real lives. You are not too old. It is not too late. Your body still has the capacity to adapt, to strengthen, to improve. All it needs is the opportunity and the stimulus. Give yourself that gift. Give your family the peace of mind of seeing you healthy and capable. Give your future self the independence and dignity you deserve. I believe in you. I've seen hundreds of patients just like you transform their health and their lives. You can do this. Start today. Start right now. Your chair is waiting. Your future is waiting. And I promise you, 6 months from now, you'll be so grateful that you took this first step. Thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe, like this video, and share it with anyone you know who might benefit from this information. Together, we can help more people maintain their independence and quality of life as they age. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep moving, keep believing in yourself, and stay healthy.